struggled with how to tell someone something difficult or uncomfortable about something or behavior that they need to change, even if it's for their own good? At my company, SBO Research, our work entails giving feedback to clients. And many times we have good feedback, but sometimes the feedback may not be positive, may not be as expected. And this is what we are paid for, to find information and report it honestly, whether it's positive or negative, whether it is as per expectation or not. And that reminded me about that situation of feedback and how it's a challenge when the information is not necessarily positive or what is expected. In this video, I will talk about how to balance the 3 C's of giving difficult feedback or uncomfortable information. Many of us find it challenging to tell someone something negative that calls for a change in their actions or behavior. This happens even when we know that they need to be aware of it for their own good, that this information will serve to benefit them, that it is good for their life, for their teams, for the organization, or even for their relationship. Let's say it's information that will help them with getting something that they want, or to succeed in their job, their business, or to maintain an important relationship. But many managers also face this challenge. They find it hard to give negative feedback to their staff and even to their bosses. So it's a common challenge. When information is difficult, when the feedback or information is difficult, it's always a challenge how to share it in a way that is effective and not offensive. You actually don't want to hurt the other person, but you don't want also to hurt them in the long term by not telling them something that will benefit them, that is important for their well-being or long-term success. Consider this question. This is to simplify the matter a bit, but I think we can start with this very simple one. You're heading to a meeting with a colleague. Let's call him Kevin. And Kevin has spinach in his teeth. Do you, 1, stay silent because you don't want to embarrass Kevin? Or stay silent because you don't want to embarrass yourself? Or 3, would you shout, "Look, everybody, Kevin has spinach in his teeth"? And the 4th option, would you whisper, "Kevin, you have spinach in your teeth," or something like that? What would you do? Which one of these choices would you do? That is a situation that is not so comfortable. Of course, there are many other variations to this situation. You know, you may find your boss, his fly is down. What do you do? How do you tell him? It's important, but it's very challenging to give. Yet you are going to a meeting together and you are imagining a situation that you end up in front of all the other people with his fly down. What are they going to think? So those are some of the challenges. I'm giving this for simplicity because really the major decisions that we have to make to share negative feedback or difficult feedback, many times it's very serious. It's about performance at work, telling somebody about their performance, telling somebody about an area of life where they really need to improve. Of course, some people in organizations, they find that their colleagues have poor personal hygiene or poor etiquette, and these things have to be communicated, and it's a challenge. The question is, how can we give difficult feedback honestly without hurting the recipient? Many times we are tempted to just brat it out, without any care. But the challenge with that approach is that it attracts defensiveness and will not achieve the change expected, and may even have negative consequences. Those who give feedback in a direct and honest manner, that is, they tell it like it is, are sometimes also perceived as tactless, or blunt and naive by some people, while others will celebrate them as forthright and outspoken. Feedback is important in any relationship. So without giving and receiving feedback that is difficult, you are unlikely to have a sustainable and productive relationship. However, how that feedback is given matters a lot. Let's consider another case. Consider the case of someone who is insincere and manipulative. They don't want to tell you the truth. Maybe you are underperforming or something like that. And they go as far as to praise you in your presence, but harshly criticize you behind your back, actually backstabbing you. This happens when there is no caring and no consideration or forthrightness. People end up saying things that they don't mean, just to get the person out of the way. This kind of manipulative insincerity is not helpful. It's a disservice to the recipient, say a friend or a team member if it's in a work situation. It's also a disservice to yourself, and it's a disservice to the other people involved in that situation. And most of all, it's also a disservice to the business if it's in a business situation. This kind of behavior of manipulative insincerity also breeds mistrust because it's insincere, and in the end, the person gets to hear about it. The recommendation is to balance the 3 C's of giving feedback in order to overcome these kinds of situations. The first C is caring. Caring matters because people pay greater attention to feedback that is delivered in a caring manner or in a situation where there is a relationship of trust. When you care for a person, it would be expected that you are willing to give them feedback even if this feedback is difficult, because the information will benefit the person in an important way. However, some people fail to give difficult feedback because they feel that it might hurt the other person. But this does not help to resolve the issue and may lead to the other person facing even longer term consequences. The second C is consideration. Consider the environment and consider your motives. Look inward. What are the motives why you want to give this particular feedback which is not so present? Check your motive clearly. Difficult feedback is more effective when the motive is right. How important is this information to this person, to the situation, to improving the outcome, to delivering greater value to the overall situation? When you consider the information important for improving the situation and for the benefit of the recipient, you will be able to find a way to give this difficult feedback, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's hard, even if it's unpleasant. You will find a way to balance the interests. And because you care, you will be able to find a way to say it in a way that is not going to hurt the person. The third C is candidness. So you have now 3 C's: the caring, consideration, and candidness. Candidness means honesty, truthfulness, being open and forthright about the situation. It implies sincerity and being direct. It means you have no bias in the situation, and some people will call it telling it like it is, although this sometimes sounds like a bit harsh, like it's done without some consideration. This C of candidness presents more challenges for most people than any other. When it comes to giving feedback that is negative or difficult, people find it difficult to be honest. Indeed, some view candidness as bluntness or lack of tact in communication. Candidness is important because it helps solve the problem at hand and builds credibility. It enables the recipient to understand what they need to do. Without honest feedback, there can be no change. Only honest feedback drives improved performance, improved relationships, and helps people come together in a much more effective way to achieve whatever it is they seek to achieve. Even in relationships, if you are dishonest, it will not help you create a sustainable relationship. We need to balance caring, consideration, and candidness. All 3 are required for effectiveness when giving difficult feedback. If negative feedback is given without care, the extreme directness can cause disaffection. Somebody can feel removed from others and feel hurtful or become offended. You need to invest in building relationships with the people who you have to give feedback so that you can afford to be direct. Only relationships of trust support directness and enable this kind of feedback to become easy. Remember to consider your motive when giving this kind of feedback. Someone once said that nothing in the world is harder than candor or candidness, and nothing is easier than flattery. So many times people will flatter you instead of telling you the truth, because it's much easier to do that than to tell you the truth when the situation is difficult. Again, brutally honest criticism dished out without any concern or tact may also be a challenge. It will feel like it's an attack on the recipient. It's It's like front stabbing. It happens when there is no care and consideration, and the feedback is given in a mean and caring way. This means that you succeed to deliver honest feedback, but you fail because you do it despicably. This breeds defensiveness. And even if it may cause some change or improvement, it creates disaffection. John Maxwell, one of the major contributors to this discussion about how to give difficult feedback, talks about balancing care and candor. He talks about the need to establish the relationship of care. And then he talks about the importance of candidness. And he says that candidness, being honest, serves to expand the relationship and to allow for more openness. But John Maxwell notes that care should not suppress candidness, and also that candidness should not displace caring. So the idea is to balance that, and I add consideration to that. Balancing the 3 C's of caring, consideration, and candidness delivers the best result and helps achieve profound change coming from difficult situation. To sum it up, the 3 C's of giving difficult but necessary feedback are caring, consideration, and candidness. So the next time you have to give difficult feedback, remember to consider these 3 C's. Thank you for watching this video. Remember to touch the like button and comment in order to give me feedback. Write your comments below. I really value your opinions and will appreciate your comments. Thank you so much for those of you who've been giving me comments. You notice I've been replying as much as I can. If you're new here and have not subscribed yet, do press the subscribe button right now so that you don't miss on any of the videos we post every week. Keep watching. We all need to elevate our mindset at this time.